Muted.
So first off, I'd just like to say thank you everybody for being here on this Saturday for this live and interactive workshop that we're going to do. So really appreciate your time being here. I like to do these on Saturday, everything, the market's closed and we can kind of not be distracted and kick back and, go into what we're going to discuss today. So what I'm going to go over today is kind of how I'm looking to trade the second half of 2026. So I'm just going to kind of show you and go through kind of the process that I use in general, and then kind of what I'll be highlighting and looking for. So, things change so drastically and so quickly. So, what we're looking at and thinking about now can change next week or the week after so fast because, things just, the markets are just continuing to the dynamics. So, anyway, we're going to go through kind of the process I follow and what I like to look at for screens and the cycles and things like that. So again, I'm glad you're here and kick back, grab your notepad, and feel free to ask some questions, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. So let's get going. So the following workshop presentation today is purely for educational purposes. Any stocks, futures, or options mentioned does not constitute advice and should not be construed as a recommendation. So, just a little background on myself. I started my trading journey back in the 80s on the oil side. So I was really fortunate to get into my foot in the door to a company called Coastal Corporation, which was at that time a really kind of a pretty much large integrated oil company that started out of Texas. And they actually, at that time, they had a number of different refineries, and they traded a lot of oil and had a lot of oil that they would transport and move into the refineries and trade and upgrade things like that. So they had a program, a training program to actually trade or teach the traders that came in and got into the programs to trade the various, crude oil, the different domestic or foreign crudes and all the different oil products. So I was able to get in that program, which was a great opportunity, and sent me down to one of the refineries in Corpus, Texas for 3 months, which was a great learning experience just to kind of, see how you bring in the oil tankers, they go into the distillation towers and, produce the different products. So you just kind of get a good fundamental foundation for that. So I spent 3 months there, and then finally, um, passed the test and all the stuff that they put you through for that. Got on the foreign cargo trading desk and started trading. Sent me out to Singapore not too long after I'd been trading there in Houston for about 2 years, which was a fantastic experience. Traded all the different oil products, fuel oil, gasoline, low gas, and the various Asian cruise. So that was a fantastic learning experience there. Loved Asia. If you ever get a chance to go to Singapore, check it out. It's just a beautiful place, and the food is just fantastic. So spent some good time there, and then ended up with a great, fantastic, basically life changing or career changing opportunity to go to work for a company called Transworld Oil. And at that time, they were the largest oil trading company in the world. It was Transworld, another company called Fibro Energy or Fibro, and then there was Mark Rich. So we were the three major powerhouse trading companies. So oil, but we diversified and we were into pretty much everything. Got into really big into foreign exchange and all the other future markets. So spent about 17 years there, and then most of it was in Bermuda, which was a corporate headquarters. And then ended up running the international trading desk out of Bermuda for 10 years. And that's where, started trading options back in 1987 on oil and just, never looked back. So it was a great experience, a lot of fun. Uh, and then it's just kind of really shaped where I am today. So a lot of what we're going to discuss are things that I developed, over that start of my career there at Transworld and so on. So, what I like to also mention is, as you know, this is so general, but it's so true. one of the most time consuming and really expensive tasks that we have in trading is to find those high probability trades, right? So it's always an endless journey that we're trying to find good trades. Now, over the years, what I did, I gradually kind of combined what I learned from when my, employer Transworld would pay for everything, which was fantastic. But I was, learning there, always taking notes and writing things down and trying to remember all the different processes they had. And then I finally put together and developed my own kind of research process that I use and I currently use, my resources for that, put together my own trading indicators, which I've developed over the years, which we'll be, using today. I'll show you those. And then really the other main thing that really helped was developing a kind of a strategic option guide to help me select the best option strategy to use for, the best trade setup based on the market environment that you're trading. So, when we're talking about options, a lot of times, traders only understand how to use one or two different option strategies, but the market environment that we trade in changes. So you need to be able to change your option strategies with that. So that's another big thing that I added to, kind of my process. So this all kind of evolved into a systematic process that helps to identify these high conviction trade opportunities that I'm constantly looking for, and then match those with the best option strategy suited for the best market environment. So it's super important to kind of have that whole combination together or process and put that together and use it. So that's kind of what we'll be diving into today. Now, before we get going too much into the process, though, I want to do kind of a market review, and that's also part of the process. So we want to, always be kind of aware where we are within the markets that we're trading. So I do what I call a top-down market analysis. And basically, what this is when I, was trading at Transworld and run the trading group. What we would do is we would do this kind of top-down market analysis of the oil markets. And so what we would do back then, we didn't really have all the great technical indicators and the charts that we have today. So we would just have to base everything on fundamentals. So we had, the different offices that we had in the different parts of the world. We had an office in Oman, we had an office in London, we had an office in Singapore, Tokyo. So we would just combine all of the information that we would receive from these offices and just kind of dissect it, analyze it, and then put it together from a big, broad market overview brush, say the big macro long term, and then break it down to kind of the more regional areas. So I'd kind of take that same concept, but now we can use, our charts to do it. So that's where I want to kind of start out today. So let's take a really good market review. And what I thought we would do is we will go through SPY, QQQ, and the SMH. These are kind of some of the general market leaders. And so I want to break these down and kind of show you what I look at, and then show you the, kind of where we are based on my analysis. And hopefully this will help you, as well. So let me pull up my chart here and we'll start out with SPY, kind of the main kind of index that everybody follows, SPY or SPX, but I'll just go with SPY today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with what I call the macro, the big macro picture. So like you're, flying at 60,000 feet or 30,000 feet, and you can pretty much see everything. It's pretty, broad. And then we're gonna lower the altitude down. We're gonna go to kind of a kind of zero in so we can get more detail. But the first thing is if we look at the macro big picture, and I'll put some Fibonacci levels in, which I'll maybe take off. But let me actually get rid of these real quick so you can kind of see the chart a little bit better. Let me take those off real quick. So if we look at SPY, which is kind of the general big trend reference point that we're using, SPY or SPX, you can see this trend has been just a beautiful uptrend. I mean, this is the key indicator that I like to follow is this dashed yellow is the 21 exponential moving average. So this would be the exponential moving average of the monthly time frame. So each bar here is at 1 month. Now, when we look at this beautiful trend. We started back here, it really kind of bottomed here. This was the October 2022, right? We had that kind of bear market pullback in 2022, and then we got down all the way to about 340, 350. And then you can see that these are my indicators that I've been using, developed and started using these back in 2010. So I've been using these for a long time. And these are momentum-based indicators. So what I like to do is, use momentum to kind of give me forward guidance as to where the direction of the market is going. So if you've been following me or working with me for the years I've been trading here and having, power cycle trading, I always tell my members, just follow the momentum. So you can see here in 2022, we finally started to make this bottom, right? Now, my momentum indicators are a great signal to when we're seeing the bottom and when it turns. So the first thing I look at, just kind of go through this quickly, is this is called my lower study cycle 1, and this is a really fast momentum measurement. All right. So then I use my cycle 2 below it to confirm the momentum, because the cycle 1 is fast, so it can chop around. And, it kind of, when I first developed this indicator, I was getting chopped around. It would get in, get out, all that. So I had to smooth it out. So I added cycle 2, which is another momentum measurement, a little bit different measurement, but also slower. So you can see right here, momentum cycle 1 and 2 actually both went positive. Now this is another great indicator here that I use. This is my cycle reversal indicator right here. So you can see the first step here was, let me clear this out real quick. The first thing I will look for is my cycle reversal indicator, which gives me
Muted.
I'll look at my cycle reversal indicator, which gives me, this is my alert to potential change in cycle. So this came on February 1st, 2023. So this was 2022, big downside move, correction to the market. My first thing right here is the reversal. And then I have confirmation, cycle 1 and 2 go positive, and then this is what is a momentum upside cross, that orange arrow. And then it was, off to the races. So that was a beautiful, reversal here. And then we started tracking this trend. Look at this beautiful trend up. This is the 21 exponential. This is my major trend indicator. Now, the 8 exponential is right above it, but you can see how tight this trend was all the way up. And then we had that pullback here in April of 2025. That was on the tariff news. Remember that? That was just when the market fell out of bed, broke below. This is, again, the monthly macro time frame, broke down, but look at that fast recovery, and then just tracked right back on up. So this is the macro big picture. So the trend is still up, but we did break that trend here back in March of this year. We had that pullback. We broke through the 8, but we held the 21 right there. So it's such a key moving average. Now we're back up again, but we're starting to get a reversal. See that reversal, that magenta arrow is my reversal arrow, which is just an indication that we're starting to get a little bit of stalling action here. So when we look at this, you can see the first then major kind of support here is about 680. That'd be about 6,800 on SPX. Now then the next thing I like to do is then drop it down to the next altitude, okay? So that we're gonna lower it down, and we're gonna see more detailed markets. We're gonna go down to the weekly long term. Now, looking at this, we're starting to get momentum is starting to go negative on 1, which means we're starting to stall out on the momentum of the market, which has been all that buying that's been in this market for such a long period of time. So you can see that momentum really started to roll up here on the weekly. This was back in April of 26, and look at that. It kind of peaked out, started to peak here, and then started to move back down. And now we're getting a negative momentum here on 1. Now 2 is still positive, so the trend is still up, but we've got neutral momentum on the weekly long-term time frame, and we're getting a cycle reversal here on the weekly as well. So this doesn't mean the market's going to crash and burn, but it's giving you an indication that you should be more cautious to the market, because we're starting to see momentum stalling on the long-term time frame. So the way that you look to play this is if you are, if you've got a certain portfolio of long trades or whatever, this is a good time for you to start hedging that portfolio and locking in some of your gains, maybe putting on collars and things like that. So this is a really great indicator that I like to use for that. Now, the next thing though is it then can also then lead to more of a downside or potential correction. But right now, momentum's neutral, but we're starting to test some of these downside lower areas of key support. You can see that this last week we came down here to that weekly 21 exponential moving average, but look at that bounce right off. That's a great indicator. And this dashed red is the prior month's low, okay? So this is a key support that this market needs to hold over the next week or two, right? So that's coming in right there about 713, 714. So that's the picture there. Now, the next one is, let's drop it down to the daily. Now, this is a totally different picture here. Now you can see momentum is totally broken down and gone negative on the daily time frame or medium term, and we broke below that 50 simple moving average. So this is a really a major key moving average. To me, the most important moving averages that you're going to be using, or that I like to use, are going to be, number one will be this actual 50 simple moving average. I have these solid colored, so it indicates the simple moving average, okay? But this is one of the most important moving averages I think that you should be following. So the 50 simple moving average here's my 21 that I track for trend. Now price is broken below that, and we've got the 8 exponential crossing the 21. So that's a negative indication of momentum as well. We have cycle 1 momentum negative, 2 momentum negative. So this signals to me that this market is in a correction phase where we may see more downside, and we want to start, either hedging your positions to protect your profits, or even looking for different short trade setups. And so that's what we've been doing and what we'll continue to do. So key support here is right about here. You can see coming in about 720, but this 50 broke. Now, the thing that the market did was it tried to get back above it Friday, but couldn't. So it closed right there. That's kind of a doji close. So it closed below the prior day's low right here. So that's not a good close. We could easily, I think we're going to see some more downside next week to the market based on this 50 simple moving average being broken here on SPY. But when we pull up QQQ, the NASDAQ, you're going to even see more, momentum shift, and it's looking the worst, right? Because it's got the hyperscalers in now. Everybody's concerned about their capex spend and the return on that down the road. Will they get the return on that? That forward, stream of income now that they spent so much money. So we'll look at that next. But this doesn't look good. So I'm looking for, right now, the way that we're trading at Power Cycle Trading, if you're following me, is we're looking for selective shorts, which we'll go through here in a minute. But then on the other side, though, we're always looking for selective longs. Now, the short side of the market has been the hardest part, right? Because we've been in this general trend to the upside. So probably if you go back and look at your winning and losing trades, probably more your losing trades are going to be more on the short sides that you tried to take versus your long trades. But now, based on this, based on breaking that 50, based on negative momentum cycle 1 and 2, this is signaling to be looking for selective shorts, and then we'll look to see where the areas of the short trades probably are the best ones to look for. All right, so that's a quick look there. Now, the next one, and the one that's really starting to drag things, is the NASDAQ 100, because that's where you have all the big, huge players, the hyperscalers, the semiconductors, all that good stuff, right? So let's do a top down quickly on that one to get a big picture. So I'm going to go over here to the monthly. I'm going to put this on QQQ. So that's going to be the one that we'll use. Nice ETF to follow. Now you can see here, we've had this fantastic run to the upside. Again, we started back here this October 1st, and then we just been same signal, cycle 1. I'll just kind of go through the indicators. Yeah, I use this for every trade that we do. The same process. Cycle reversal here, step 1. Then I'll look for confirmation. This is just alert to potential change in cycle. Cycle 1 goes positive. That's step 2. Then I want confirmation of that. I get it right here with 2, right there. And then we have a momentum upside cross that orange arrow and then off to the race to the upside. And then you just look for the trend to be tracking and go from there. There are a lot of other things, but this is the general idea. Now you can see that we're currently getting a reversal here. We still have positive momentum. So, right here's the key kind of next support areas down here about that 671, which we're going to see much more clearly when we drop it down to the weekly. All right, so now you can see I took the fib levels from here, this swing low in March to this swing high right here, and we are sitting right on top of the 236 at around 700. See where it stopped right there? And then we have this low bar right here. So the next key support area is right here. See that that's the 21 exponential of the weekly, and let me take these fib levels off right here. You can see this. All right, so the next key support is going to be right here with this kind of alignment where you've got the 382 retracement and the 21 exponential, and then this dash red is the monthly low. So write this number down for QQQ, the key, and I'm going to write it down too. This is going to be your next major key support area will be right here, let's call it 665, okay? So that's QQQ 665, all right? Because this, what I like to look for is alignment with other things to align with, which creates big support. First, we've got the 21 exponential. We've got the prior month's low, that dash red, and then we've got this Fibonacci level right here, and we've got some price action right there. Now, so that's coming in at right here at 670, call it, and then we drop down to the daily, and you're going to see that more defined as well. So here we are sitting right on top of the 50 simple moving average. You can see that on the SPY, we broke below that 50 and we're currently below it. We closed below it. Now the NASDAQ was able to close above it again on Friday. See these closes? So this is a key. The beautiful moving average, a very high slope to the upside. But this is your key support. So we'll call that 700, okay? And then you can see, this is what I call price action support. We've got this kind of swing low right here. This is coming in about 786. So next week, the NASDAQ really needs to hold this area here. It's going to probably test it, okay? But this is the area. We'll call this kind of a demand support zone. So this is going to be 685 up to 700. This is going to be key. Write this down. All right. Now, so this thing could chop around, chop around, chop around. But the way that I like to trade and play these kind of potential downside moves is I like to play it based on breaking these key areas of support with what I call these would be kind of a momentum short. And what you want to try to do, which is sometimes the hardest part, is you want to do, your timing is critical. So you want to kind of get the momentum break more so towards the close of a price versus, on the open, because the opens, a lot of times you can test these things and then the machines will kick in and kick it back up. So what you want to be doing is you want to be looking for more so, not specifically maybe shorting the index unless the indexes start when the markets are really breaking down. That's when I like to go to the indexes to short. But when they're kind of like this, chopping in a kind of a semi range, then what you want to do is you want to look inside the index like the QQQ, and you want to look to see what the weaker components of the QQQ are and then short those. Okay, so we took a really nice short, for example, then on Meta, based on all of this kind of starting to roll over, because Meta had a key area of potential to break support, and it's what I call it kind of a cliffhanger. So I'll flip over that and show you. So we were looking at, basically looking at this, seeing the momentum is shifting down, things are starting to stall, and then looking inside this to find those stocks that are, weaker, the weaker bunch within it. So just for example, I'll show you just a couple of quick ones here. One was, and then we had this on our watch list at Power Cycle Trading, and we ended up doing Meta. We had Meta, and we had a number of different ones, but Meta, see here, this is kind of what I call the cliffhanger. So this was a key support right here, this 557, and then you can see here Meta. This is why it's so much better to short selective stocks versus the index, because look at Meta, it's below all the moving averages, right? So it's below the 200, it's below the 150. We've got momentum downside cross. We've got negative momentum on everything. All right, so it really doesn't look good. And then when you look at this key area here, that's a key area of price action support. If I pull up I'll pull up another chart so you can really see it. So these are really key things. And then again, like I said, timing is everything as well. So if we kind of combine all this together, you want to select, for your shorts or even your longs, the best looking potential, security to do that. Now, when you look here at Meta, this is the weekly long term, you can see this support area here. See, this is what I call price action. So you can see here, you can look back there, but you see the price here, it broke down below this area. This is kind of that 557 right there, broke down right there, and then came back up. See, failed there, failed there, failed there. So 557, right? That becomes then a kind of a data point that the machines see. Then it finally broke out. See that? Came down. And then look here, it broke below 557, bounced back up. So this becomes a really key area of support. And the machines are all looking at this. And so that's what you're going to go with. And then that's the 150 period moving average aligning with that. So we took this short, and I call it a momentum short, based on that breaking of that key major 557. So again, that was within QQQ. QQQ starting to roll over, but this would be a better short. And then Tesla was another one that we were looking at. We just jumped jumped on TSLA. We jumped on that, and I'll show you the meta trade that we did. So Tesla is very similar. You have this key area of support here that was coming in right there at about 384. Now Tesla this is another one to write down. This will be one that I'll be watching for more potential downside. So this is one you might want to put on your watch list for additional shorts. Not saying to do it right now, but because it could, how Tesla is, but this is a key area, and it's broken below it. This kind of area here, this 385, 380, and you can see there's, right here, the next really support area is where it stopped right there, 368. Then you've got this area here, 363, and then down here. So that's, that to me, it looks like it's going to probably be tested. So these are the things you want to look for, when you're looking at longs or shorts. But like I said, with QQQ starting to roll, I like to then go inside of it, see which, stocks or securities might be the weaker link. So this is key. So QQQ needs this 700 area and then down to 688. Next area is going to be down. The really big area of support you don't get until you get down right here. This is your 50% retracement from your Fibonacci swing low right here, March low to the swing high. All right, so this is going to be key, 650 right there. And that's also aligning, that's the 100-day moving average, 150, the 200. I think there's a good high probability that we're going to start testing the lower ends of these bands. Now, the other thing too, we've got earnings coming up in July. So, earnings could salvage this, or it could be something to give more of a catalyst to the downside. But again, looking at this, I'll be looking at very selective stocks to short. And the thing with the shorts so far, you can't stay with them too long. The shorts move down, but then they rip back up because the market's in a general, uptrend. So when you look at, again, the trend of the market, when you look at the weekly trend, it's still up. It's still above all these key moving averages, right? So it's currently above. Now, momentum starting to come off. We're starting to see it stall, but the trend right now is still up long term, but starting to break down when we look at the lower time frames, which would be the medium term daily time frame, and then down from there. All right, so that's a look there for QQQ. Now let's take a look at the other big major part of the market that's really been moving the markets up. Other than at one point it was the hyperscalers, now you're seeing all of those fall apart. So Amazon is even now a short candidate. So when you look at Amazon, this will be one that, I don't like shorting Amazon, but look at this. It's below the 200 moving average. This thing, this looks really poised for a bigger breakdown. So that's another stock. This looks even better as a short than Tesla. When you look at this, I mean, it doesn't have much support below. If it starts, it's below that 200. If it can't get back above this 232, this cluster moving average support that it broke, this thing has a lot of downside. Look at this gap area right there. All right, so this is a big one to be looking at for potential shorts. Will be Amazon, and let's put our fib levels in there real quick since we're doing this, so we can define some areas and some targets. So we're going to go. I'm just going to get rid of all of these and just kind of start over here. Let me clear all this stuff out. So this is kind of, this is how I analyze, any trade I'm looking at. And this is kind of how I base any trades that I send out to my alert service, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But if we look at this low here, this was that March low. Let's put it in, and we'll draw some fib levels real quick. We'll come down here to that March low, right? We'll come down to this, right, this is February. We'll just go from here, this March low to high. This will give us a good place to start to see where support is for potential, downside moves. So we'll just use this real quick to that high. And see here, this is danger zone. When you break that 618, if it can't get back above that, back above the 200, this high probability, this has more room to the downside. And look at this gap area. So this gap starts, the up part of the gap is right here at 219. The gap gets filled here. So I'm going to be looking at Amazon. I hate to say it for short, but these will be very selective. You'll have to do trades that are very defined risks that you can get in and out of pretty quick and keep your risk low. And I'll show you the meta trade that we did to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. So that's Amazon. But the next thing that to always keep, the semiconductor sector's been on fire, and this has been driving the market. So this has broken trend. See, this is a horizontal kind of a trend line here that it's been in this beautiful trend up, but it has broken that. And look at this number of these reversals. We're getting a cluster of reversals here, and we've got momentum cycle 1 negative. So this doesn't look good. But, it's been the strongest part of the market. You've got Micron, you've got all those players in there. So you see the next really big area is going to be down here. Here's your 50. So be watching this. Down to 570 is definitely a possibility there. All right, so that's a quick overview on that. Question. Okay, there, Joe. When you short a stock or option that you own, do you sell an in the money call, or what do you sell? What you mean when you're selling a options against the stock that you own? Okay, hold on a second. So you want to hedge a stock that you own? Okay. Well, a couple of different things. I tend to like to sell, out of the money, because if you want to keep the stock, if you sell in the money, and the market moves sideways or whatever, you don't get the pullback. You're going to be exercised. So if you're in a stock position that you like, you're right, but you're just going to hedge it, for the medium term or something. I sell out of the money. So sell out of the money. I would sell typically maybe like a 20 delta would be your short strike, something in general like that. Okay. Does that help? Yeah. So out of the money. Now, if you're in a really, a really hard trending down market, which we're not in that, then you could sell in the money, right? But if you're kind of in this environment, out of the money. Yeah, sure. We can talk about the bonds here. We'll talk about that here in a bit too. All right, so that's a quick look there. Now, the next thing though that's supporting the market here, these are all the things that I put into input onto how I view the market from the big, macro picture on down. But when we look at seasonality, this is a really, really important part of, my analysis to the market. And then everybody make sure your mics are muted. Let me see here. I'm going to mute again and then I'll be right back here.
Muted.
Okay, so seasonality though is in support of the market. So we've got the kind of the wind to the back of the market when we look at the seasonality. So this is the December continuation series for the seasonality patterns. Okay, so I've been using the seasonals for ever, back when I was running the trading group. We would always, most of our trading plans were based off of seasonals, right? Because they'd repeat over and over and over. But you can see this goes back 5 years, 15, and 29 years. So if you look at the red here and the black, just for example, that's a pretty good little trend. You can see a nice, strong seasonal trend up, and it tends to kind of stall out and peak when we get towards the end of July. So we're coming up to that period. So typically, when you go into holiday weekends, typically the markets tend to rally in general, right? So this next week, I think the market, unless something crazy happens, I think that the market potential has a tendency will maybe trend sideways. But there'll be probably some that will test the downside. But just based on seasonality, that's another thing to keep in mind that we're going into a long weekend. Unless the markets really start to crater from some of the other stocks starting to give it up, we probably should get a little bit of lift into the market. But you can see seasonalities are strong at this time of the year. Okay, and so all the way to that end period of July, and then this is when the market starts to really kind of get wobbly and deteriorate. And then here you can see that October surprise. You can see that potential pullback, pretty defined right there, right? But when you get into August through this October level, man, you can have a lot of volatility in the market, a lot of different swings, and then here's where you can get that potentially big swing, and then this is where the big trend happens. You get into that early October stage, and boom, that's when you can really start to make hay, looking for things that are going to trend up. Okay, so that's a good look there. The Nasdaq is pretty much the same boat. You can see the seasonalities right now are favoring the market. Nice strong seasonal uptrend here. But then we get to this sideways action when we get towards that end period of July. And there you go, October. All right, so keep that in mind. Those seasonals, what they're saying to you right there. Now let's take one more look at one more component of the market, the oil side of things. So when we look at oil, I'll show you a couple of things to help you understand the demand dynamics. But if we just quickly look at crude oil, the straits have opened back up, and look what happened to oil. We just look at, we can just see the oil spike up and then it's pulled back. So we were in a really oversupplied oil market until the Iran situation happened. But look where we are. We're almost right back to where the market took off, right here at around the 60, 65 area. Look at that. We've broken back below the 200-day moving average. So, the bubbles pop here, and this this can help the market, as far as reducing inflation. You should start seeing numbers come down on the inflation side. And then you were asking about bonds. This will also help bonds. Okay, so the bond yields have been moving up because of the oil shock, right? And the fear of the higher oil prices, the impact that would have on inflation, making things, more expensive. And that was pushing bond prices or yields higher. Now with oil collapsing, coming back down, and we're going to probably start getting back into oversupply situation, this really helps the market, reduces inflation, and that's going to help bond yields, pull lower. So with that being said, we saw a nice pop, on things that are home builders like XHB, things like that. So these are areas that to be aware of. So also you have the bill coming up, but you can see with oil prices pulling back, that's really starting to help things like that are rate sensitive, home builders, etc. So that's really key there. And let me show you one more thing that I like to really be aware of, is just the correlation in how this affects the dollar. Okay, so I'll pull that up, and I'm going to put crude back up here real quick. All right, and I'll pull up my dollar yen chart in a second. Now one more. Where's my chart? 1 second. I'm going to do one thing real quick, and then I'll come back to this chart because it's really important. I want to go through this with you. But before we go a little bit further, let me show you something that I've got. Now, I just started something brand new, which is really cool. Started this in March, and this is my a new kind of Elite Trader Inner Circle forum that I started. It's a membership. And so I've got a number of different levels, but what I'm going to show you here today is my level 3, which is called the Pro Trader. And with this level, I've got the 1 second here. I've got this. This has a lot of great stuff that you get with this level, and this is where you get my trading alerts. And I have 5 different kind of alerts that I send out. And then these alerts that I send out are based on kind of what I'm going through here today with you. The different process I use, looking at the momentum, looking at all the different things I look at. And so based on all this, this is where I come up with my alert trades that I send out to my members. Now, so this is the membership that will give you the access to the alerts if you're interested in this. So let me just go through this real quick. Now, if you want to dial into it, use this link here, powercycletrading.com/special. I'll give you the link, and then I'll just kind of give you a quick overview of this, and then we'll come back to it at the end of the workshop here today if you've got any questions. So let me just put this on here for everybody. All you have to do is either click on it or copy and paste it, and let me put it in here for you right here. So this is going to give you this link where you can get membership to my Elite Trader Inner Circle membership. And this membership then will give you all my alert trades that I send out, and then a lot of other really great stuff too. So let me just kind of go through this quick with you, and then we'll come back to it. And let me do one more thing. Let me show you. Now, when you put that in there, what you're going to get is this drop down payment link, and I'll put it in there to show you real quick what it'll look like. So you'll get this real quick, and I'll go over the details of it. All right, so this is what this will give you access to, and this is in the part of my Elite Trader Inner Circle, and this is the highest level. This is level 3, called the Pro Trader. But with this, you get access to my alert trading trades that I send out. Like I said, there are 5 different ones that I send out, plus a number of other really great things that you get with this service, which we'll talk about. But here you just put in, click here. It's just $97 a month. You'll see here the alert performance here, over the different time frames. And then you're going to also not only get the alert membership, but you get then access to my Inner Circle trading community, a lot of really great stuff, all my different courses, my indicator, you get my stock reversal indicator. So there's just a lot of stuff that you'll get with this level 3 membership. Okay, so put that in there. That's what it'll look like when you pull it up, and then just click on here, join here, and it'll pull out a drop down payment link that will detail everything that you'll get. and it's just $97 a month. And for that, you're going to get a lot of great benefits and service that you'll get, with my alert service and access to me and all that good stuff. So here's what you're going to get. Basically, just kind of go over it. And again, it's $97 a month. This is my founder's membership price because I just started this service. So, at some point we'll be going up on the price, but right now it's $97 a month. And for that, I send out 5 different types of alerts based on what the market conditions are and what they're telling me to do. One that we do a whole lot of these are calendar diagonals. We did one last week, which I'll show you. We did this on WMB, and the other ones that we do a lot of are butterfly and long condors. Here's one I'll show you in a bit. We did a short trade here on Meta using a long condor. This was an alert trade sent out to the members of this service. And then the other one was that WMB was a long trade that we sent out to the members. The other ones that you might get are breakout reversals, which could be credit spreads. We do a lot of times very selective, maybe pinning trades for option expiration and, during earnings season, selective earnings trades. So these are the type of trades that you will have access to that I'll send out to my members. And it's just $97 a month if you use that link. But not only will you get this, but you're going to also then get everything in my new service, my Elite Inner Circle service. And with that, you're going to get also, you'll get my text alerts. These go out with a free app. Telegram goes straight out really fast. I monitor these out all throughout the day from inception to the close, giving adjustments or telling you when to get out. So they're really, really great alerts. I'm very, very selective with these. I give you step-by-step trade guides for the alerts. And then, when I send out alert, I'll tell you or give you my option strategy that I would use. A lot of members will do their own thing. They may just buy the shares or short the shares or buy calls, buy puts, but I'll also always give you an option trade that I think would be a very good one for the, security that's going long or short. It'll have the trade entry levels, what option series to use, price target areas, and then I'm monitoring those and giving, updates and adjustments if anything is needed to be done. Okay, so that's kind of a quick overview on that. Now, along with that, though, you also then get, like I said, you're also in my inner circle, which I'll show you some of the other benefits to that here in a bit. But here's a good overview summary of the results of the alert service. So from year to date, right here, we're currently 83% win break-even rate. We've had 63 trades closed out so far this year, and we've got 44 winners, 8 break-even, 11 losers, win break-even rate at 83%. So full disclosure, unaudited. Now, since I started the alert service, I can't even believe it's back in 2018. I started the first part of the service, and then I've added to it. But since inception, we've had over 1,029 trades closed out, 731 winning trades, 81 break even, 217 losers, a high winning percentage, right? So that's what I've been shooting for, and we've been able to maintain that. So it's been a really great service, and that's what you're going to get just for $97 a month. Plus, there's a lot of other benefits, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. So you're going to get that. And that's level 3 pro trader. So again, just use that link that I put in, powercycletrading.com/special, and that will pull up this drop down and, go from there. Now, my indicators, if you do want my indicators that I'm showing you today, it'll pop up after you go through here. If you want that as an upsell, you can add that to it for $195, but that's what you're looking at there. So, hopefully you'll take advantage of it. And if you have any questions, let me know. And we'll talk about it more at the end here. All right. So that's what you're going to get there. Now, let's take a look here. Go back to the oil side. What I wanted to show you is what we call the term structure of the oil, and that's based on oil spreads. Okay. So this is a big, big part of oil trading in general. And let me just pull this up and I'll show you what this will tell you. If I can find my chart, here it is. So what I did here, you can see just the collapse here of the market based on the spread between a certain time frame. So this is showing you the August 2026 futures contract versus December, the end of the year here, 2026. So you can see when the market got hit with the Iran situation, you can see here oil spikes, right? But now the spread is collapsing. So we had the big spike back here. This was that's a 4 hour. Let me put this up to the daily. So you can see we had the big spike. That was the initial spike in April, end of April. You can see it was $14 per barrel above. August was $14 per barrel above the uh, December price, and now it's just collapsed. Okay, we're back down to zero. So the bubbles burst on oil, unless something else happens. But the market looking forward, the hedge funds are shorting the heck out of it, and that's going to be actually positive for inflation, and that's again going to be helping the bond market and yield. So if you just take a quick look at TLT, let's just take a look quickly at that one while we're talking about it. So you can see this trending up. All right. Now we're into key moving average resistance, but it's starting to chip away here at that 200. So, with oil, if oil continues off, inflation starts getting, pulled down based on that. We should see potentially bonds moving even higher, which will be pulling back on yields, which will be a good thing. All right. Now the next thing, and this is a really important part too. Here's where you can find, the trades and the rotation of the market, the money flow. And so this is just a quick look sector rotation. So this is year to date, and you can see all these key sectors here and where they are. And you can see here the big area obviously has been information technology, and it's the area that's starting to get a little bit of momentum starting to fade. But what I'll be looking at here is going down inside of these different sectors, the ones that have been lagging, to see what the potential opportunities are here. Now, consumer discretionary has been crushed because of all the things that are some of the key stocks that are within this have been just destroyed, along with communication services. But what I want to do is keep an eye and monitor these for when they do start to bottom out. These are going to be some great opportunities to the market. So that's I love to go through these sectors then to see what they're telling us. And here's just a quick look if you want to drill down into that sector rotation. Let me pull it up real quick. So for example, here, what I'll be looking at is going in here and, take a look within some of these areas that have been destroyed, to see, what the potential opportunities are within here. And then what I like to do is then monitor the different stocks, looking for when these stocks, start to show a bottoming pattern based on the certain things that I look at, reversals and breakouts. But this is a place where you can find a lot of the great possible stocks to be looking at. So I'll be looking into this sector rotation for some trade ideas, and this is really helpful. And I like to kind of follow the 5-day, the weekly time frame shows you where the money's been rotating in and out of, and you can see again discretionary been hit hard, communication service, information technology. So areas I want to be looking at will be within consumer staples. They're starting to move up a little bit here. So it could be some, opportunity there, and selective industrial sectors, anything benefiting from, the AI, okay, things like that. So that's one way that I like to monitor and look for trade ideas. And I'll put those into my scanners and things that I'm doing there. All right, now the thing I kind of mentioned earlier is momentum. And so this is such a big, important part of the way that I trade and the way that I like to look for, market direction. And it's based on momentum. So, I use a couple of different indicators that I've developed over the years to give me that momentum. And so I look at multiple time frames and put those together to give me kind of a bigger picture of what the momentum flows are. So I use these momentum indicators that, again, that measure strength or weakness based on momentum. And I like to do it across a number of different time frames to give yourself, more alignment, not relying on just one time frame. So typically I like to use like the 30-minute, hourly, 4-hour, daily kind of time frame together. And when those are all aligned together, either up or down on momentum, that gives you a good, strong either trade for the upside or downside, kind of a brief review there. But this really then helps to identify price trends early, okay, by the momentum breaking up or down based on my momentum indicators. And then what also it does is when you have a number of different time frames that are, say, for example, positive momentum, then it's going to give you validation to the strength of a certain stock to the upside or even the certain weakness to it, right, based on momentum. So if we have really strong upside momentum across a number of different time frames, that's going to give us, really good validation to that strength. Versus if we just maybe have one time frame positive and the others are starting to go negative, that starts to indicate weakness coming in. And this will then also help you to be confident with the trade and that really helps you to maximize your profits when you have this really strong positive momentum across, multiple different time frames. So very, very important. Now, the next thing I'll show you that I go through for my, kind of trade and selection process is, chart patterns. Okay, so over the years that I've been trading, I've kind of put together 5 different types of patterns that I like to look for that really kind of help me to kind of put certain things in a bucket of, breakout trades, the upside or downside. And so I kind of go through these patterns that I like to look for and kind of identify and help me to, select trades. So the different patterns, there are kind of 5 different ones that I've kind of identified and defined. The one, though, that I love to really look for that can be within these other 4 patterns is what I call the volatility squeeze or volatility compression squeeze. And this breakout pattern is one that I'll show you what it looks like, but this could be then within these other 4 patterns. So then I look for a cycle high reversals. I'll show you what that looks like, a cycle low reversal, and then there's a pattern that I call the cycle low retracement reversal and a cycle high retracement reversal. So these are 4, unique trading patterns that I look for. And then if I see a squeeze pattern within this, those are the ones that I typically will focus on. So when you sign up, do you send an email? Yeah, we'll be sending an email. I'm not sure, it might be automatically auto renewed. We will do both. Typically what we do is I think we have it set up auto renew. So when you sign up, it'll renew automatically. But then what we do is we send you an email typically a week before that renewal, so it's coming up. So if you don't want to be renewed, you can cancel, something like that. Okay, but that's typically what we do. All right, so here are the different patterns. Let's go through this and I'll show you what they look like. So the first one, like I mentioned, is the volatility compression squeeze. And this is a pattern that can be within these other kind of 4 basic patterns that I'll show you. But this one is great because it's a really powerful breakout kind of pattern. And so what it is a kind of what I call the volatility compression squeeze. So it's identified as a period where you have prices starting to consolidate and coil, kind of in a tight pattern range. And then when it breaks out of that tight pattern, the breakouts can be, it's like a spring. It just can be a violent move either to the upside or downside based on where it breaks. So, a lot of times what you'll have is you'll have the markets have a big spike up or spike down, and then they kind of have to re-engage energy, right? You have this huge expansion of energy, then the markets have to kind of, wear it off, kind of absorb the energy, take a breather, right? So they kind of consolidate sideways, and then the next, maybe the next leg up breaks out to the upside, or maybe it fails and breaks to the downside. So that's the pattern. So it's a tight volatility. It's a compression squeeze in a tight range. and then it's going to either break that range up or down. And that's where we use our momentum indicators to give us the indication of the breakout. Will it be up or down based on momentum? That's going to give us a clue. And we see good positive momentum, it's going to be a higher probability that breakout of the squeeze pattern could be the upside. If we get negative momentum, the breakout could be to the downside. Okay, started to talk about the dollar. Yeah, I'll take a look. I'll show you that. So this is the pattern that I love to look for. Thanks, MT. And so, this, I call it kind of lightning in a bottle. I had one of the bosses I had, he'd get so excited. He'd say, if we could just bottle that trade up, it's like lightning in a bottle. So these can be a fantastic breakout type of trade because they're also, remember, time equals risk. So the quicker you're in and out of a trade, the less risk, right? So I love this pattern. And I've got the indicators are designed to identify the pattern when it starts and when it stops. And so here's just a really good example. Here's Netflix, just a chart to show you what the squeeze looks like. All right, so you can see these dots here. These are the green and magenta purple. Now, my indicators, and when you have a squeeze starts, I'll have a dot pop up. I've got a certain rules that are coded into my indicators to identify these squeezes. Yes, yeah, good question. So this is my new community. So if you go to I'll show you. So the question, if everybody can see, is there a community platform like Discord where you can discuss trade ideas and interact? Exactly, perfect. I'm glad you asked that question. And let me show you real quick the forum platform that now I've created. Let me show you, and we'll come back to that. So there's a lot of great stuff that we're doing right now. So this is my new platform, and if you go here, you're going to see here's the community. So this is got a lot of great stuff. So what I showed you earlier is the level 3. Okay, so let me just go through this quick, and we'll go back to the workshop. But level 3 is what I'm telling everybody here today. Hopefully you'll join. This is my highest level, and then let me show you what you'll get. But this is also where you can have the community forum that you can start talking with other traders. And where's my level? Right. Jeez. Okay, here, trading memberships. Okay, so I've got 3 different levels. The first entry level is 19 or 20 bucks a month. That's all. Level 2 is 47, but level 3 is what I'd really recommend everybody to get because this is where you're going to get my alerts and so much more. But this is 97 a month. Now, with this 97 a month, then what you're going to get, and I'll spend more time on this in a bit, but you're going to get the live community here, live trading chat room. So you can come in here and talk with other traders. We're going to have gamification. I'm in here constantly monitoring, putting up stuff. Here you can see I put up an afternoon market report here, text that I just had sent out with an alert trade to show you what that was. And then every night I do a video update on the trade setups that I've identified that are coming up. I give you a trade list of those every day after the close, plus a video of the trades that I'm looking at. So here's the one that we did last week on Meta. This was a short trade that was a fantastic trade. So here's where you can just come in and you can just start chatting with other members in the live trading chat community, right? And then with this community, then there's a course of the month that you're going to get. Every member gets, and this is a free course. This is right now you're getting my option trading playbook. And you've got that course that's free. And then you get all this other stuff. You get my Start Trading Options course free, Fibonacci course free, and then you get my cycle reversal indicator free. And then I've got all these other custom indicators and stuff there. So you get 50% discount. But here's the Elite Trader Alert Service here that will be part of level 3. Okay, so I'm glad you asked that question. Okay, so again, use that link here, and you can use that, join level 3, and then you're going to be in the trade room, uh, chatting with the other members. But going back to it, yeah, it's called the Pro Level 3. Um, I don't have a free trial. No, I don't. Now, if you, I don't have a free trial. I've stopped doing free trials. Basically, it's just when you do free trials, it just takes a lot of overhead. It takes a lot of administration stuff. So I'm trying to keep things pretty simple. Okay, so here's the squeeze pattern. Okay, so this is a really fantastic pattern. So you can see it here. See just how tightly it's kind of wound. And then momentum, see, cycle 1 reversal, positive momentum, and then we had a breakout. Then we had momentum cool off, pulls back down, goes sideways. Another volatility squeeze here. So again, here are the dots. They are coded in my indicators. Now you can also buy my custom indicators here. If you become a part of the community, you can buy these indicators for 50% off their price. They're really cheap if you're a member. But see the squeeze here, see that consolidation, and then again momentum has given us potential direction for that breakout, and it's been to the upside in these areas. Now with this specific kind of pattern, then there's certain kind of option trades that I would do with a volatility squeeze, because these can be really quick and furious movements to the upside. So typically I'll like to maybe just do a debit spread, or sometimes we'll do a long condor if we want to keep our risk a little bit more minimized, or sometimes a counter diagonal. And with the MetaTrade, we did a long condor on that just last week, and it turned out great. Now, here are the other patterns that I go to and look for, within certain for trade setups. Here's what I call the cycle low reversal. And this is when you've had a major sell-off in the market. So this is when the markets have just been ripping, tanking to the downside. You can see that perfect trend to the downside. These are my extreme range bands, and just, really going down. Now, the first thing you're going to see again are the thing that I look for, a cycle reversal. See that purple magenta area? That gives me an alert to the potential change in this down cycle. The next thing I need to do is step 2. Cycle 1 goes positive, then confirmation with cycle 2, and then here that orange area, that's momentum upside cross. That's typically where I like to buy. That's where I typically will send out alert to go long. Okay, so that's a cycle low reversal. Okay, and there are certain options, strategies I like to use in that situation. Now this is a cycle low retracement reversal, which means it's retracing to, it's not a low, but it's a retracing to a key moving average. So it's a cycle low retracement. So here's, for example, gold. You can see here, so you can see it's just hovering over this. That's the 200-week moving average. And there's also the volatility squeeze here on this weekly time frame. So you can see this is a cycle low retracement to the 200-week where it started to consolidate, right? And then we had a cycle reversal, step 1, step 2, positive momentum, and boom, break to the upside. Here it was on the daily, the 200-day moving average, okay? Squeeze, momentum, break out to the upside. So it's a great pattern, and with that pattern, then I like to do, again, maybe debit spreads, butterflies if there's a certain target we're looking for, long condor, and calendars. Now here's a cycle high reversal. This is kind of where we are now, where the markets are at peak highs, and then you get a reversal to the downside. All right, so here was just an example. QQQ had moved up. We get a cycle reversal here, that purple magenta arrow, and then we start to see momentum moving lower, and the market starts to fade. Momentum has been lost, break moving average, we get acceleration, more selling coming in, more momentum to the downside, and that's a cycle high reversal, which reversed down. So that's a pattern there, what that looks like. And then on this, I love to start out with maybe call credit spreads, things like that. Here's a cycle high retracement reversal. This is when you're trending up or you've been trending down and you get a retracement back up and a failure. This is what I'll be looking for with this market now. We'll be looking for retracement failures for shorts and the momentum shorts on breakout key support. But here's just a good example of a retracement failure. And this is coming into the 200-day moving average here. This was XLK. So you can see that beautiful trend up on XLK, but then look what happened. It gets to the 200-day, it can't get through. Look at that, chop, chop, chop. Getting multiple reversal patterns there, and then momentum goes down, end of that trend, right? So that's another key pattern that's a great one to be, watching for. Now the next thing is, well then how do you find the trade setups? Okay, so first one thing I like to do is I go through those different sectors, look for the different stocks or securities within those sectors, or maybe it's just the ETF itself, and then that's a start. But then the other thing I do is I'll put that into my scans, and I'll look for these potential scans that will either one give me the breakout pattern squeeze or a reversal pattern kind of squeeze, a reversal type setup. So I'll show you just a few of these real quick. But here's just the other thing I like to do is look at the heat map. And it kind of shows you where the sector money rotation is. This is from Friday. You can see that, finally Apple got a little bit of relief, Microsoft, et cetera. But this also gives you a good idea of where rotation is going, right? Now, here's my custom watch list. These are, everything in my database, or I can scan specific S&P or NASDAQ, and this will give me potential trades that are in this volatility squeeze. So this is a scan I like to do. Looking for the volatility breakout type squeeze pattern that I just showed you. And I'll show you a few more of these here in a minute. But that's what it looks like. Now here's my kind of watch list. I do this every day after the close. These are momentum reversal potential trade setups for the upside. And then I also do it for the downside. Now, if you're a member of level 3, you're going to get this every day. All right. So just for example, part of being level 3 just for $97 a month is that you will get these the scan every day with the video that I'll go through and then cherry pick the ones that I think look the best for the next trading day. So for example, here's the daily list. Okay, so every day after the close I'll put this list together of the best looking trades that I think are good looking trades. Now here it is for okay, so here it was for the, I'll show you, for example, here was the June 2nd, 22nd list that I sent out. All right, so you can see this had Kimberly Clark, this had WMB. Now we took a long bet on the WMB. This was on the list. And I had short on that day, Snow. Now I had, here's my list from the 23rd. And this is the one that we did. We went long WMB, and we went short Meta. So this was on the list that's provided to the level 3 members right there. $97 a month, you get this trade list. Plus I do a video of these specific ones that I like the most. So, I'll do a video and I'll tell you, I like WMB because it's in that pattern. It's starting to break up. And so we did this one long. I'll show you that in a minute. And we did Meta short, and this was off that scan right there that I'm showing you. So you'll get that every day after the close. So you'll have that trade setup list. And here's one. This was from the 24th. You can see Tesla was on it, Datadog, Snow. All right, so that's a part of what you'll get. And then the other part, you'll get my video review of it. So that's where I go in and show you in more detail why I liked it. So here I can pull this up. You'll see this is what that will look like. So here it is from the 23rd. You can kind of see real quick here.
Hi, it's Larry Gaines, the Daily Aftermarket Stock Report, and today is Tuesday.
So this one
23rd
is,
June. Well,
I'll go through the ones I like. Here's WMB, the one. Okay. Here was Meta. Okay, so that's just the other stuff that you'll get. All right. Now, here's my list. I do this scan, and I'll go through these, and I'll cherry pick there's a bunch of them right now. And then I'll go through, here's like Datadog now is going, starting to reverse to the upside. So I'll go through this list and then I'll cherry pick the ones that I like the best for my members. And I'll put those out to you on that list that I just showed you. So these are a few. There's a lot now of potential long trade reversals. If we have time, I'll go back and I'll show you a few of these. This is on a medium-term time frame, and then here, this is what I'll be looking for, for a longer-term shifts in the market. Since we're looking now, second half of 2026, I'm going to be looking here more detail here on the weekly, longer-term time frame to see if I can, identify any stocks that are starting to bottom out and starting to reverse back up, which can give us a longer term trend to play. All right, so I'll be looking into these in much more detail, for these types of trades. All right, and here's the weekly list, a lot of different trades there. And then I'll look also to the other side of it on the short side. So this is where I get all my short trade setup ideas there. And then the next thing is the trades themselves. So what I'll show you next are the trade setups and then the option trades that we've used. And then, take any questions on that, anything you have that you want me to, address. And here's the link again, one more time. So go there, powerstockoftrade.com/special, and you'll get the Pro Trader Alert Service will be part of it. And then you'll get, oh, hey there, James. Yeah. Well, and then once you want to continue, so you had the 5 month, then what you can do is just, we'll put you back in at a monthly 97 a month. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, let me make sure that just bear with me 1 second, everybody. I'll let you be looking at this. So yeah, level 3 here. Yeah, let me. So you sent an email. We'll get back to you. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. That very nice of you. Let me make sure. Make sure I've got your email address here real quick. And oh, great. So here's MT. I've known Larry. Service process has been consistent. I've taken many courses with him. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I look for risk first, and so risk reward is like one of the key things I look for when I do any trade setups that I send out. Okay, let me appreciate that very much. James, let me get your email and make sure. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll just we'll get you set up. You'll have to be set up for the, I'm only doing this on a monthly basis now, okay? So we used to do, 6 month thing like that, but I'm just set back to monthly. And let me see what your email address is. Make sure that we get you back reinstated. JCTFG. Hold on, let me get this. JCTFG. So you want to get reset, okay. All right, thanks, James. I'll make sure, and we'll get that taken care of. So you sent a help message yesterday? Okay. Thanks again, MT. I really appreciate that input there. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And yeah, it'll be, yeah, right. Well, when you did it back in February, you bought 5 months. So now I'm not doing, long-term kind of packages. I'm only doing month to month. So it'll be 97 per month. Okay. And but then with that, I'll show you here in a minute everything you'll get. So basically you'll be a member of my highest level membership, level 3, and that gives you a whole slew of great stuff that you're going to get with that. All right, so you'll be pleased, you'll be happy with it. All right, so here's the trade setups that are sent out. So these are my option trades. Everything that I send out will have some option spread type strategy attached to it. A lot of members will just do their own thing. They may just buy calls or puts, but I'll also always give you what I think would be the best option strategy to use, for that specific trade that I'm sending out. And so for me, the key really to long-term success really is consistently having more winning trades than losing trades. I know that you can still be successful, having more losing trades than winning if those, winners are huge. But I like winning trades. It gives you psychologically more confidence and things like that. So the reality in mind, the performance that we've had has been really good, I think. If we look over time, I've been really consistent and been trying to keep winning trades. And then the other part of it is, like Yomti said, I look at the risk reward. I keep the risk parameters really tight. Now, with the alert service, we'll use a free app called Telegram, and I'll put the, I'll type in the trade setup, etc., and then I'll punch enter, and boom, these things go out, instantaneously to you, to your mobile phone. You'll set it up, or you can then set it up on your desktop as well. So this is using Telegram, and I showed you this a little bit earlier, so I'll go through this, not kind of quickly, but year to date, we've had 63 trades closed out and 44 winners. Basically, we've got a win break-even rate of 83%, unaudited. So I'm trying to look for really very, very selective trades that I send out because I want to keep this winning break-even rate high, right? I don't want us to have losing trades. You start to have a bunch of losers, it drags you down. It makes you just miserable, right? So we want winning trades. We want high frequency emotion. We want everybody to be at a high frequency. So when we're winning, we're going to be a higher frequency than when we're losing, right? So this is really key. Now, year to date, 2025 maintained 79% win break-even rate. Really good, year. And then year to date, all the way since inception, we've had a win break-even rate still at 79%. So really doing well there. Now here's the one that we just did last week on Meta. So if you kind of bear with me, I'll show you the trade setup here. So with this part of the alert service, we've got butterfly and long condors are the ones that I send out. Let me see here. Yeah, well, I have this in here. So that's here's your trade results. I have this set up for you I update this every week. So you can see here, what I'll do is I'll update this every week right here. So I just updated this, on Friday. Here it is. Yeah, right here. So I'll do this update for you, the summary of the results. So this will be, updated usually every Monday and Friday. Yeah, I'll give you the entry exit alerts. Okay, I'll show you, for example. All right, so here's a good example, entry exit on the trade. So let me go through and show you here. So these are the butterfly long condor trade alerts that I send out. Hold on. Okay, so you have the alert service. Well, give us so yeah, let me get your email address. And remember, if you have any questions too, you can send us an email, support, and I'll get your email address. All right. Yeah, you can break it down by the month as well. I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. So here's what we've got for the butterflies. We've had running a really high wind break-even rate here on the butterfly condors because these are really tight defined risk trades. So the average loss, going back is maybe $75 to $100 per spread or less. But the potential, reward, when we look at the risk ratio, the risk to reward, these things can be 2 to 1 to even, 20, 25 to 1. So with this, I started this service back in 2018, May 18, 2019. Wow. And we've had, 259 close out, 183 winners, 24 break even, 52. We're running 80% win break even rate on these. So here's the trade that we just did last week on Meta. And the question was, do I give entry exits? Yes, I do. I'm just constantly monitoring these things throughout the day for you until the trade is closed. So here's the one that we did on Meta. This was a trade that was, I sent out this alert on Meta was that you could do it a couple different ways. So, everybody's count's different. Everybody's risk reward parameters are different. So I try to make this where you've got some different options for the trade that you might want to take. So here's a good example of that. So this was what was sent out, on the 24th. So that was what was that? That was Wednesday. So we were coming in Wednesday, and I sent this first message out before the market opened. I said, watching Meta for potential short after the open, we'll update. Okay, so then boom, that was at 8:19, and then boom, right after the market opened, sent out this alert. It says new Meta short. Okay. I'll tell you where it's trading. I give you some background on the cycle. So we were in a daily cycle high reversal, retracement reversal, what I was talking about earlier. And so, and then, so the risk reward potentials, I'm always looking for big risk reward. Now, there are services that these guys, all they do are credit spreads, okay? But you make tiny bits and pieces of money, but those are probability trades, but you're not making much money. So I don't really like credit spreads, to be honest with you. So here's the one that we sent. All right. So I tell you what it is. I give you a description. Here's your target one, 555. We hit that. Target two, 540. We hit that. Know your risk, taking the trade. Okay. So here's your option. You could either do the put debit spread. I can tell you what to do. A long put or a long put condor. So here's one. If you want to just do the debit spread, boom, buy a vertical 26 June, 557 at 555 put spread, okay, at around 80 bucks, 80 cents. All right, that's if you want to do that, or if you want even more defined risk, then I say you could do buy a condor. All right, the 26 June 557 at 555. 540, 537 at around 60 lowers your risk, right? So this is what I sent out, and then here was the 25th. I give you an update here, sent out an adjustment, and then this was a really fantastic adjustment. So I sent this out to anybody that was long the put spread. If you wanted, adjust this to a condor to reduce your risk, reduce your risk, and also to give you more positive data. So I tell you exactly what to do. Sell to open the 535, 27.5 put spread. And if you did that, then you adjusted this trade to this, what we call a put condor, 557.5, 555 put debit spread with the credit spread side, 535, 27. Turned out to be a fantastic trade. Here was the profit take on Friday, going right into the close. Profit update, max profit, adjusted Meta short, trading at 549.48. Remember, we set the shorts up here at 565, and now expires today. So I come out here, I say, okay, time to close out, max profit. And I'll tell you what will happen will be if it closed between 555 and 530, your max profit there. You'd be, if you did the debit spread like I sent out, you'd be up 175 per spread. So if you did one, you're up 175. If you did 10, you're up 1,000, et cetera, 233% return. If you did the adjustment to the condor, you were going out max profit of 175, and you'd be up 614%. All right, so that's what you're going to get with level 3 on the alerts if you want to participate. Meta was a great trade. So here was the trade setup, and this was what I call momentum breakdown trade. Okay, so if you look here, I love this trade setup. So we're breaking this momentum break of that 557, right? We talked about this earlier. So when it broke that, we did the put debit spread. Then it went down here. See this, went down here to this 540 area. I sent out that adjustment if you wanted to sell out of the money, the 530 short strike. And now you've got the condor, a put condor that looks like this. And you've got this big profit zone here, reducing your risk. Reduced the risk down to 35 bucks, and that gave a potential huge reward on that. So that's what that looked like. My momentum indicators, everything lined up. And so here was the condor. If you look at the risk reward parameters here on this trade, this was doing the 557 at 555. And then when I sent out the adjustment, that added this credit spread side to it. So that creates what we call a put condor with a real wide profit zone here. We reduced our risk down to $35 if you did this adjustment, $35 per spread. And then if it went out inside the profit zone here, which it did, your max profit on this trade was 215, 614% return. All right, so this one worked out perfect. It went out right inside the profit zone and ended up right there yesterday in the close. That was a max profit trade of 215 per spread. So if you did one spread, you made 215, et cetera. Or you could have done just the put debit spread, which was right here, which was part of the alert if you just wanted to do that. And that was risking $75 to potentially make 175. And this made, max profit there of 175. So that's, a look there. That was the meta trade. Here's the one that we did not too long ago. This was CRM. I'll kind of go through these quickly, but this was another put condor. Again, here's the alert that was sent out on the 9th, 10th. I give an update, an adjustment, 12th, profit take, etc. And so here was the kind of similar to the meta trade. So it broke down here. Here was the trade breaking here, the 50. See that breakdown of the 50 simple moving average? That was my trigger right there, momentum down. So set this trade up and sent this out to everybody. And this was a long put condor that we also made some adjustments to. And by doing this trade, we ended up with the adjusted price after a couple of things that we did to 73 bucks. And so we had this put condor on here. Again, it looks like this. We had that put debit spread side, 177.5, 175, and to add the credit spread side. So we have a put condor, reduced our risk to 73, potential $2.5 wide spread, less our cost to make 177, 242% return if it goes out inside that profit zone, which this one did as well. So that was a great trade setup. That was CRM, went out there right inside our profit zone. So this one we made the max profit, 177, 242% return on CRM. This was another alert trade that you will get under level 3. So that was back on the 10th. Here was just another really cool trade. This was on Google. This was a butterfly. I just kind of flipped through these. We've done so many of these. So this was one that was sent out. Google was trading at 315.90 and set up this butterfly. We were targeting up to about 340. So what this one was, this was an adjusted butterfly. So we originally were targeting like this 330 area, and then it started to move through it. So we rolled the trade up and we rolled the butterfly. And this is all given to you. These are just a couple texts, but there might be a number of different ones that I'll send out to you. But I tell you exactly how to do it in the alert when I send it out. So rolled this up to the 340 strike. So made it 330, 340, 350. And we reduced our cost down really low when we did this. And this ended up making over 1,000% return, all right, based on the adjustment that we did, the way that we traded it. All right, so here was the Google trade, set it up here, right there. You see, again, same process. Momentum, cycle reversal, cycle 1 and 2 momentum positive. We had an upside reversal. This would have been the perfect place to buy it. But we bought it right here on this break of the 50 simple moving average. So we were originally doing the butterfly targeting 330 right there, but it started to move through it. So we did an adjustment here and rolled the spread up to the 340 strike to the butterfly. and that worked perfect. So I'm just guiding you through these trades. If you take them, I'm telling you what to do. And so here was the trade that we set up with the adjusted after the adjustment. So we were then targeting 340. So now we had this butterfly, the 330, 340, 350, $10 wide, but we adjusted our price down to 63 bucks on this butterfly. Potential to make 937. That'd be over a 1,400% return. And this trade came really close to it. So went out right there, 341. This was up $810, 1,200% return on that risk of 63 bucks. So that was very cool. Here's the calendar counter diagonals. So these are, we do a whole lot of these because these are so flexible. We have such a great flexibility. But you can see here the results. We've had 422 closed out, 299 winners, 32 break even, 91 break even, 70% win break even rate unaudited. And here's the last one we did. We just did this. We're still in this. This is on WMD. This is a really cool trade that we've got. We set this up on the 23rd, and here it is, just kind of what you would see. It says trading at 75.10 daily cycle low, retracement reversal off 150-day simple moving average and breaking above 50 simple moving average and prior week's high. Positive momentum and momentum upside cross. Target 176, target 277. Know your risk, take the trade. So the initial trade that we did was the calendar doing the long the 17 July, 75 call short, 26 June, 77 at $1.90. We had to adjust this, and now we're still in it. Here's the adjustment on the 25th, and here was some profit take. On the 26th, if you wanted to, take some profit. I sent out this yesterday into the close. It says profit update. Trade now at 78.40. If you're long the adjusted one that we did, we had to make an adjustment. This was up $135. Okay, so that is one that we did on that. I'll show you what it looks like. Do I have a daily trade on SPY? Not currently. Not currently. So we did this trade. This was on the 23rd. What was that? Wednesday. So we did this. Was a really nice trade. We got the trade set up right here when it's breaking that 50. We had cycle reversal, cycle momentum up, and then we had our initial strike was set at 77. So we had to make an adjustment, and we're still in this trade now. I'll show you what it looks like. This has really big upside potential too, I think. And so we did this trade now. Currently, this went out on Friday right there, and we were up here on this trade $135. So right there, we still have a lot of potential profit in this. So now we're long the 17 July 75 call, and we adjusted and rolled up our short strike to the 2 July 79. So we widened the trade out. We originally had the 75.77. So now we have it $4 wide, 75.79, $2, 8-cent debit cost adjusted. But what we're going to do on this trade, if it keeps moving up, what we'll do is we'll roll the long. This is how we can make so much money. We'll sell to close and roll the long strike from 75 up to probably 76, lock in some big profit. There's so many different things that we can do. It's a really cool setup. So that's one that we have currently on still, but we have good profit in. So that was really nice. Here's one that we did on Apple. I just kind of flipped through these. This is another calendar diagonal that we did on Apple through the alert service. We had this, and then we did a couple of adjustment and ended up here over $317 per spread on this trade after the adjustment on that. Here's what I call kind of hedge trading management. This is one that where we had Alcoa. We did a long call calendar, and we then adjusted this into an adjusted broken wing condor made over 1,000% return. So these are the trades that you'll get, that'll be sent out to you. You can take it or not take it or whatever. It's up to you. But here, here's just kind of a little bit of what was sent. Now there's a lot more than here. I just can't get all the different text because we did a lot on this one. This was on the 13th. It was trading at 68.40. We did adjustments on the 22nd, and we did another adjustment on the 1st. And so we adjusted this trade down to super low risk. by doing it, making it into a condor. All right, so here again, if you look at they all look pretty much the same. So here we had a cycle reversal here. We had our momentum cycle 1 and 2 up. So we had this break of the 50, but look, this thing pulled back. So we did another thing with this. We turned this into a calendar to defend it for a while. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff. And then we uh, adjusted it back to the counter diagonal, did adjustment there, took profit there. This trade was really cool trade setup. And then ended up here was the original trade. We had this on the counter diagonal 69.73. I'm kind of going through this fast for you. And then we ended up making this into an adjusted broken wing butterfly, and we reduced our risk with the adjustments we did down to $36. So we had max risk now of $36 with the $5 wide spread. This is a broken wing condor. And if it goes out in here, we make 464. That's a 1,200% return. And pretty much nailed it on this one as well. So went out right there. And so this was up $429, 1,192% return on that. And then another thing that we do that you might get, these are very selective. These are what we call our lotto trades. And from time to time, we'll see a really good setup where we can do this. And this is one that we had done on GLD. And we did this as a lotto trade because our risk was only 25 cents or $25. And so we were targeting a potential move on this one to $400. So set the trade up here for $25 on this butterfly. And so it's a lotto trade because we're risking the 25. That's our max risk. That's, it's kind of binary. You take the risk on these because they're super low. And if we hit our target, though, you have a potential for a huge return on that low risk. So max risk here, $25, $4 widespread butterfly, and ended up making over $300 on that risk of 25, 1,200% return. Now we're scaling out, but anyway, these are what the trades look like. So very, very selective on what I send out, and that's what you will be looking to get. Telegram will, if you have any problem, it's really simple to you just download the app, and then it's ready to go. Let me show you. Darn it, pull it up. You shouldn't have any problem on it. I don't do my seminars on the Telegram. We just use it for to send out the trade alerts. Okay, you're through the 2026. So you can send us an email at support@powercycletrading.com and we can help you out on that. But it's pretty simple here. Hopefully, might be something that's usually pilot error. All right, so appreciate that. Yeah, send us a email there, James. I don't have a phone number. It's better, to just do it through the email, and my assistant will help you out there, Rachel. Okay. Support@PowerCycleTrading. Do you need that again? PowerCycle. Get this right. There you go. All right, so yeah, we'll get you all hooked up. So if you do want to join my Trader Inner Circle, my top level pro trader, level 3, it's $97 a month, and here's everything you'll get. So first off, you'll have access to these trade alerts that you can take or not take. They're up to you, but they'll give you a bunch of different trade ideas and setups that you can look at. So with this, just for $97 a month, a little less than $4 a day, whatever, you get all 5 of the alerts types that I would send out. So last week I sent out a calendar diagonal on that, WMB, and I sent out Condor on Meta. All right, so that was last week. So typically 4 to 12 potentially stocks or ETFs are sent out over the course of the month. It could be a calendar, or it might be a calendar diagonal. Depends on, the best way I think to trade it would be. Or it could be a butterfly, or it could be a long condor. So last week we did a long condor on Meta, or it could be a breakout or reversal, so debit spread. So we did the debit spread or condor there. Just give yourself an option. Or it could be a selective pinning type trade, or it could be an earnings selective trade. So there are 5 different kinds that can be sent. Now, with the Elite Trader Inner Circle membership, you're going to get the founder's price is $97 per month right now. So use that link, powercycletrading.com/special, and you will get that payment link there for $97, and you can set up there. So with this, you get the alerts, plus you get access to my a level 3, which is the highest level. So access to the trading chat room. So this is open 24/7. So this is where you come in, talk to the other traders in the chat room. And what I'm going to be doing, I haven't had time to set it up, but it's what we call gamification. So you can do a lot of stuff, get points, get free courses and things like that. You get a certain amount of points. So it'll be more fun, more kind of engaging, And then I do, with this level 3, we do a live weekly trading Q&A every Tuesday, live and recorded. Okay, so that's part of your membership. And then I do that daily breakout reversal trade list setups every day after the close. I give you the breakout trades, longs or shorts that I think look good. Plus, I'll give you the video review of those as well. So that's all with level 3. You get that. You'll also get my cycle reversal indicator, which is one of my favorite indicators. You'll get that for free as a bonus for the course. For level 3. Then as an additional part of the level 3, you're going to get my on-demand recorded Get Started Trading Options course, a really good option course you'll get there, plus my Fibonacci price target mapping course, you'll get that. And then we do a rotating course every month. This would be something that you'll have then for basically 6-7 weeks. So right now it's the option strategy guide. This goes through all the different options trade strategies I like the butterfly, the condors, the calendars, etc. So this is free for everybody right now. And then you get 50% discounts on anything, my courses and my other software, which are also listed, on the site. All right. So when you go and you get that membership access, this is what you're going to be seeing. So you're going to be, right here. So if you want to see the Get Started here, you can see all the different things. And then you'll see the event calendar. So this is the new forum here that you're going to get. Here's your live trading room, chat room you can come into. So just that's kind of what you're going to be looking at and using this platform, this all new platform where you can communicate back and forth. Okay, so it's going to be a great fun thing to have as well. Let me see here. So you don't have time additionals. Okay. Yeah, you can start and stop you can start and stop the service too. So, if you take off for work or vacation, but it's a monthly. I used to do it longer term, but don't anymore. So here's, the Pro Trader Alert part of the service. So this is the highest level. So basically what you're getting is my, 4 decades of trading, my software that I use. And this is all I put into to really get the best trades that I send out in this alert service. So then I find the trade that I like based on my reversals and my scans. I put together the best ones that I like, and then those are the ones that I send out. And then I match that trade setup, if it's long or short, with what I think would be the best option strategy to use for that trade. So for Meta, we ended up using the debit spread, adjusting that to a condor, that kind of thing. And for WMB, it looked like a longer term break, so we did the counter diagonal. And so then once it's on, then I'll give you instructions were your strike price to use, the option series to use, and then the targets, the pricing guidelines, and then I step you through and hold your hand all the way through the trade, all the way to the end when we're exited for either profits or maybe a stop loss. So I monitor the trade, and then I'm constantly updating you in real time with the Telegram. Just hear a little feedback from a couple of members in the service. Here's one from Waleed. He actually is in Kuwait, and he said, Larry, I have to mention one thing. I'm subscribed to a lot of services who send out trade alerts. Some are good, others are not that great. But one thing I would like people on this webinar to know is that when I get an alert from Larry, I do it blindly as time to show me. This man is dead accurate, so appreciate that. And then Dan, this is another one I like to point out because he said, you're very diligent and totally thorough with your analysis, but that is the foundation of the success of your alerts. And this is the cool thing is that a lot of members have done this. I pay for my subscription with the first 4 trades I took when I was just learning how to trade options. So that was really cool, and I like that. So I went through the alert update summary here. Currently 83% win rate, break-even rate unaudited for 2026, and then here's everything you'll get in addition. So this is what it looks like when you sign up. I showed you that. Take a tour here. So you're going to get my daily top trading video, right, with the alert trades that I like the best. And then you're going to get my community access where you can chat it up in a live chat room. You're going to get my Get Started Trading Options Today course. That's a benefit or a bonus to anybody that joins. You'll get that as a freebie. Then we did the weekly live and recorded work Q&A that we do every Tuesday. You'll get my Fibonacci price target mapping course, the alerts, the cycle reversal indicator, and then rotating course. Currently, you're having my option game plan course, and then what you're going to get for July is my earnings course. So a lot of great stuff. Now, the course of the month currently is my option strategy playbook. So this is for sale for $397, but everybody gets this as their course through June and through the first part of July. So you have plenty of time to go through the course as a freebie as part of the membership. But you can also buy if you want at a discount. The retail price is $397. I have this on my website. But if you're also like a member, then you get 50% off of that. But now this is the rotating course, so you get it for free. All right, so this is a great option course that's currently available to all members. And this goes through all the different, the best strategies I like to use, calls and puts, vertical debit spreads, butterflies, condors, and calendars and hedging. So that's what you have available right now. Now, the course for July is going to be my earnings course because we're going to kick off a new earnings season in July. So this course will be free to everybody in the level 3 membership for $97 a month. So this will be free to you. And this course will then goes through a number of really great option strategies that are specifically designed, that I design and use for earnings. So this will teach you how to use what I call the earnings double calendar. So it's an incredible strategy for volatility collapse. But the course will teach you all this, okay? I'm just kind of going through the highlights. So the course will take you through how, why, and when then to implement 5 different option strategies for earnings. So the double calendar, this will teach you also the iron condor debit spread, the iron condor credit spread. These are for volatility collapse types trades. Shows you how and why to do it, how it's done with trade examples, the iron butterfly, and then I'll also show you how to use the earnings pairs trading strategy, which is a post-earnings trade strategy that I designed and developed for earnings. So each strategy includes an in-depth walkthrough with real trading examples, giving you the knowledge that you're going to need and the confidence behind that to do these trades if you want. But it's all free as part of your membership to the level 3. Okay, so that's part there. And also, it is available for sale for $297 if you wanted that. And as a member, though, you would get 50% off of that. And then the other thing you're going to get is this is part of your level 3. You'll get my Make Money with Options So this course is $297, but this is free to you with level 3. And this is a really good intermediate type option course that goes through, the benefits of options versus stocks, how calls and puts work, how expiration works, and then also goes through and shows you and teaches you 3 different option strategies: the covered call, and the covered call with the protective put, a collar, and the vertical debit spread. So you get that as part of your membership bonus when you join level 3, which is $97 a month that I showed you. Plus, you get my Fibonacci price target mapping course as part of the level 3. This is $397 if you wanted to buy it. This is what I use for what I call price target mapping, which combines Fibonacci, moving averages, price action, standard deviation, unusual option activity. So you get this a 3+ hour course that everybody gets for this, and that's free for you for the level 3. Plus, the other thing you're going to get is my cycle reversal indicator, which is what I use for all my trade setups. And this is $197, but you get this as a bonus for joining level 3. So a lot of stuff. This is available for Thinkorswim, TradeStation, and TradingView. And so you're going to get a whole lot of benefits with level 3 plus the community. And that's pretty much it. I think it's a lot, and hopefully you'll like to take advantage of it. Yeah, so we have a service agreement that you have to sign. Okay, so you can sign that, and once that's executed, then you're going to be ready to go. Okay, so I think that covers everything, and I appreciate everybody's time and everything today. Here's the link one more time. My recording period is about to expire, so I need to close it down. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I look forward to seeing a bunch of you, in our cycle trading in our inner circle. Thank you again. Ciao.